And I gave a little careful thought. We have the Peek and Hold Pro, baby. The Peek and Hold Pros, which is an excellent solution for our little challenge. Peek and Hold Pros. So these babies right here have 8 outputs. So this one injector driver box, heavy duty, will suffice for this. So these would only need to just be inputs for this box. This can handle all the rigorous duties of running these injectors. Excellent. Giving good fuel injector control, idle, mid-range, and top-end range. And this would be awesome. And all we need to do is use the outputs from the Motec to control this. So this will work. It'll control these. And we have an extra brand new harness for the Peek and Hold drivers right here. So one extra harness. This is a complete harness for my GTI that already has the connector for running one of the Peek and Hold boxes. And then I have a separate harness for running an extra Peek and Hold box. And what I'll have to do is to continue with Teddy's project and just not to be a setback, we'll go ahead and use the extra spare harness, use my spare Peek and Hold driver box, and we'll configure everything to get this set up for the Motec. So the tricky part about this is the Peek and Hold Pro is awesome. So I can configure it at several different settings up inside the box. The Peek and Hold Pro is a programmable unit, and this thing is awesome. It has a whole list of injectors that it can control, and of course, with these, the billet atomizers, they suggest no matter what the resistance on, depending on the model injector you have. So you want to definitely research the ones we have. We have the 45 pound per hour injectors, but either way, depending on the year that these were manufactured, you want to definitely do the research to make sure that these are low impedance and which driver box you would need. But I just went ahead and cut straight to the chase when I purchased these boxes. So that way, if I do decide to switch up to different injectors, the FUELTECH injectors for my race car, using the Moron injectors, the atomizers, or whatever, Siemens or Bosch, we have the options to play around and switch. But this box needs to be programmed for 8 amps, okay, for running these, a peak current of 8 and a hold current of 2 amps. So you need that strong peak current to get the injector needle up off its seat, and a hold open current to continually let that fuel flow through, hence the Peek and Hold. And this box will work excellent for our product. But the reason I pulled out the FT600, I need to program the box. So we'll hook up the wiring harness, we'll get all of this cleaned off the bench and move it finally off the bench. Once I finish configuring a couple of minor sensors, but this weekend we'll have all of this moved off the bench and start mocking up some test fitting and locations in Teddy's car, and then I'll bench test or bench wire up the FUELTECH. We'll hook up the CAN bus connector, which is in here. That would be this. Can we see through the plastic? That would be this little small connector right here with the red and white wire and the yellow and blue. That's for our CAN signal connector. We will connect that to the harness for this Peek and Hold driver, and I'll use the FUELTECH to communicate and program the perimeters for this box. Once that's done, I don't need to do anything else. That will be set. So if we pull power off it, unplug it or whatever, the settings are not going to change. This, we just don't, unfortunately, the CAN bus communication doesn't match up with the software of the Motec communications because they're competitors. So why would you have these two boxes talking to each other at the moment? You possibly maybe could do something sophisticated and try to reverse engineer it, and that's way beyond what we're trying to do. Hell no. All we're trying to do is just simply use this box to run our injectors, and that's all we need it for. The benefit of this is, now, don't get me wrong, it stores a lot of information. It keeps in constant communication with the F600, and if there's any type of injector failure or something like that, where injectors start to fail, if I'm not mistaken, this will have the information to communicate with the FUELTECH ECU and let them know you may be having an injector problem with cylinder 6 or 4 or whatever. But I haven't even gotten into any of that yet. All we need to do is basically set it up as a peak and hold driver box, program it for what we need, and we are good to go. So yes, that is pretty much hopefully our not last major hurdle, because there's still a lot more we got to do. But that should be, if I'm not mistaken, one of the last big milestones that we would need to at least get the engine running and get it set up. All the other stuff that's coming, of course, is more tuning with getting the transmission controllers and different things set up, and driving the car with the tuning and upgrading. Not the drive shafts, because we're good with the axles, but we are definitely going to need to upgrade the drive shaft. That drive shaft is going to go quick. I'm pretty much already predicting, if I'm dropping that clutch hard and I'm spinning all 4 wheels, that drive shaft is going to spit from up under the car, and that will be a fact. So I will have to end up hooking up with a shop, possibly still the drive shaft shop, and get them to build us a custom drive shaft. But that is that dilemma hopefully resolved.